So we actually just found out that we're not going to have drift or drag race modes in game at launch. This one, God, I'm conflicted on this one since we ended up hearing about it, just because I know that with this game, the whole idea is that it's supposed to be more of a ecosystem. It's going to be, its own games as a service type of approach where it's going to obviously evolve and change as time goes on. But it kind of sucks to see something like that, like, not provided right at the launch, especially with the last couple high-profile games that we saw from Microsoft over the last couple years release without content.
Yeah.
Obviously, Halo, we know the debacle where we ran into issues there. Redfall, we know about that whole situation. Like, there've been a few times for concern, and when I saw that, all I could think personally is, delay the game, give it a little extra time. Like, if it's something that's close enough in the pipeline that we can get this thing going and we can have a more content complete version, do that. However, this is the state in which we're in, and I don't see them moving this at this point. But I guess the benefit to it is that it is a games as a service title, so we will see some of that change as time goes on. But I guess the question I have for you guys, and I'll throw it to Plume first, is do you think the game should have been delayed until it was content complete? That'll be the first part.
For me, it's hard because when I think about Forza Motorsport, I'm thinking about like the simulation, the circuit racing, and everything. And when I heard that those game modes weren't there, I'll be honest, I really didn't care that much. Like, I wasn't that disappointed because maybe I'm not a veteran enough in the Forza Motorsport series to know really what I will be missing out on. So I think, like, in general, Turn 10 makes amazing games from the previous ones that I have played, but I'm not like somebody who's spent like days and days playing this game, right? Like over 100 hours or something. So I don't really care that much that those game modes are missing, but should they delay it? If it's just for those two game modes that are going to be coming at some point in the future and everything else is there, and there's the full simulation career mode or whatever that they have, I think it's fine. I think they just add those in later, and most people probably aren't going to be that upset that those two game modes are there at launch.
Okay. So I guess I'll roll that over to Sour real quick as well, because obviously we don't know a lot about this situation besides the fact these things aren't coming. But I guess my question is tied on to the one that I asked for Plume, is just, do you think this is an acceptable approach, given that it is a games as a service title, if it's acceptable for that longer rollout of content and modes, or does this concern you and make you worried that, like, maybe we're going to see more of this type of behavior on other games that come out in the future?
I think, well, to begin, I think Turn 10, like Plume said, has shown themselves to be a very talented studio, and they have delivered in the past. The problem that we have with this is that Xbox, as the ecosystem, as the studios and everything, they seem to have developed a habit of doing this. Where lately, where like the games are not coming out like content completed, so in a way, it kind of is an issue. I would not say necessarily for Turn 10, but more for like the Xbox brand, because it's like you're showing it with different games as if this was like, you know, only this game, we probably would have had no issues, but then we had the problems with Redfall, we had the problem with Halo, etc. So
I think as terrible as it is, they've got a failure to launch type of scenario, right? The premature launch on a bunch of their titles. It's kind of, I mean, for me, again, like I said, obviously this is a games as a service type of ecosystem, so things might be a little different with this. I'm hoping that this doesn't mean we'll see more of this behavior in the future because, this comes out and people are like, well, it's no big deal. We'll just go with it. I'm hoping this isn't a cadence that continues to be more of a norm for them, right? Because we keep looking at the last few years of games. All of you guys have seen it along with me, is like some of these games we've played came out and they were buggy, broken messes. Like we're not just talking Halo, we're not talking Redfall. Like Star Wars was impacted. We had Call of Duty that was impacted. There were issues across the industry, and it makes me nervous that like if we don't hold them to it a little bit, that this will continue to be like a norm, right? But crazy is that. Do you think this is anything to be concerned about, or do you think that this has been kind of something that they've had planned to an extent? They just didn't want to announce it earlier on because they didn't want to take away from all of the good news that they had coming when they did like their showcase in June.
When is it coming out? October, right? So that means we're close to a 3-month period, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't like the same thing that happened with Redfall? Wasn't like it close to 3 months that they announced it was coming out in 30 FPS?
Crazy, don't do that. Don't do that.
It was.
No,
he's not wrong.
I'm not wrong. I'm trying to get. No. I'm not being. I'm just bringing out a point, right? So here's my thing, though. Again, when you did the showcase, right? You guys should have said, "Hey, this game is going to come out like this," and then later on we will add these features. Okay, we will understand. We're in June. The game's coming out, so it's like a 4 or 5 month period. Awesome. We totally understand that you later on are going to add these modes on here, because here's the thing, though, buddy. You come out with Forza Motorsport. What is it? Is it 7, 8? What is it? 8, 7? I don't remember how much are. There's like 20 of them already.
They're dropping the number for this one, but technically it would be 8.
Okay, Forza Motorsport 8. Yeah. You're coming out Forza Motorsport 8. Yet you have Gran Turismo, which came out in 2022. Was it? Or was it this year? I'm lost with the dates. What the hell? But
Gran Turismo, wasn't that? That was like a couple years ago.
No, it was last year. I think it was. 2022. Last year. Last year.
Oh man.
So no, okay. I could be wrong. Was it this year? I don't know, because this year.
If that's, yeah.
But here's the thing.
It feels like it's a.
Yeah, it feels
like a few years feel like a decade.
Yes. And here's the thing, though. Gran Turismo did come out with those modes on there. So you have a competitor out there that has these modes, and what are you going to do? You're going to give the people, you're going to give them stuff to feed on and say, hey, my game came out complete, yours didn't. So you're feeding the people up with this. So, all right, you now announce it 3 months prior. Same thing with what happened with that red thing. But either way, so a couple months prior to the game release, you guys announced this. I find it wrong. I mean, seriously, announce it the same day, and say, hey, this game is going to be like this, and we're going to throw the circuit. What was it? Circuits. That's the word. Circuits.
No, so it's the drift racing and the drag racing.
No. I'm saying they're focusing on the circuits.
Yes.
Racing, yeah. They're focusing on the circuit racing. So just say we're focusing on the circuit racing, and then later on we will drop, and then close to December we will drop the drift. Give us like a schedule, like Fortnite does. What's up?
Okay. Not to defend them necessarily, but it also could have been that maybe they thought they would have those modes ready, but then, when you're developing, certain things happen where you might change something, and that something changes the whole game, and then maybe it made it difficult. So, things could have changed in the process, so we don't know that. But, my thing is, that I have always said is, I think developers or studios in general, they should stop providing date until the game is I don't know, I wish they could wait till the game goes gold and then they give a release date. I wish that was the norm.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I think like we've talked about before, so it does break down very much to it's a communication type of thing. Like if you're afraid you're not going to hit these targets, like I'm guessing they've probably known for a little while they weren't going to have these items ready. So communicate it as soon as you can. The worst thing you can do is basically come out, just like what we ended up finding out with the Redfall stuff, is like come out and be like, yeah, well, this is what it is, and this is what you're going to get, so suck it up.
Yep.
If you communicate it and you just say like, hey, listen, we were anticipating this was going to be ready, it's not ready, it does go back to the same thing as like you mentioned, that they couldn't anticipate potentially that these things weren't going, or that they weren't going to be ready, which I would say, like, if it's going to be skeletal as far as the actual content offered when it comes out, then push it. So hopefully this means that we have a good amount of content that's still there, because then it goes back to if it doesn't, if it feels like it's a shell of the game, give it the extra couple months, like let it bake. But Plume, I did actually want to ask you something else, because I didn't think about asking at the time when I was talking to you on it. I'm trying to remember, are you into racing games much?
Yeah, I play racing games, like various ones all the time, but it's more.
Okay.
I don't know.
He played with us, remember? But he was always last place.
No, that was you, man. That was you.
No, actually,
Sorry about that.
when we played with her,
No,
he was competing.
No.
Crazy, you wasn't even there. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
of course I was there. What are you talking about?
Whatever.
Was I there? I don't remember. Sour, if you took first place, it was your son.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't took first place. I didn't.
No. Okay.
But I wasn't last.
Plume, is this one that you're interested in trying when it does come out? Are you gonna? Okay.
I'm going to jump into this one right away, just from everything that we've been seeing about it, and just graphically, right? Like, looks like it's going to be a literal showcase for the Series X. So I want to see how it looks on a big 4K TV and just feel the difference. Like, they've talked a lot about the difference in how the cars feel with all the contact points on the wheels and stuff, and I kind of want to see what that's like compared to the last one.
I did actually hear, when I was listening to some of that stuff, I think they were actually talking about it a little bit on Wandering Dutch's show earlier today too. They were talking about Forza Irwin and how he's kind of jazzed out about the fact that it's got those control, or the contact points for the tires.
Yeah.
Because especially with like a simulation racing wheel or something, that could be really cool. Like the response and the vibration and feedback could be really cool if you have a good steering wheel setup, right? Does actually make me wonder, because you brought up the quality, the visual quality and everything. We did actually hear that there's going to be a handful of different modes, as it were, right? So like a quality mode, a performance mode, stuff like that. To what extent, we don't know. So I'll be curious, like if we see something like, I doubt we'll end up seeing a 60 frames with full ray tracing, but at this point we don't know because the details are pretty hazy. I think no matter what, though, like those game modes are going to look slick anyways. I think the same thing happened with Forza Horizon 5, right? So when you played that one, yes, you had the quality mode that dropped it down to the 30, but the performance mode, which was a lower resolution, like it was the solid 60 and it played like butter. Yep. So I'm sure it's optimized one way or another, but I'll be actually really curious as to like how many modes we have and what type of flexibility we have in regards to changing those settings.
Because here's my thing though, right? And to be honest, if you're not going to give us, those modes right now, that means you're not going to give us probably not the full game yet. Because that's pretty much what you're trying to say, or I don't know what you're trying to say, because, like we said, communication is important. Yeah. So we better get, that we can see our actual faces or butts on that car. I mean, literally, I want to see my face and my butt. We better get a nice graphical, thing and a nice good performance in that game. I'm telling you, seriously, because if not, I'll be really mad.
Plume, do you want to see your butt or face in the car?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I want to walk. It's like I want to walk next to the like. For example, if I see the screen, I want that reflection of the car looking at me. Like, I can see my face on that car.
Note.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're driving the car if you're looking at your butt. So I don't.
I think he wants to play around in that Forza Vista mode where you can just walk around your car and look at it gazingly. I think he wants to be like, oh, look at that. Look at that man in the window. Oh,
Yeah.
Sourblow, let me tell you.
Yep. But you get what I mean, though. I mean, it has to have a good graphical, at least make it awesome so we can be happy. And then we can,
Note
enjoy the game and wait till, the other stuff releases. But again, bad on you. Shame on you for doing that. I'm not happy with that. But
note that I did ask Plume what his opinion was about seeing faces and butts in the reflections,
yeah.
because I knew exactly where you were going to go with it, and I wanted a logical thinker.
Oh man.